Okay, the world's oldest ninjutsu. Where can we find the world's oldest ninjutsu? Well, before you go anywhere, this video is basically to support this book here, which is The Secret Traditions of the Shinobi. Hattori Hanzo's Shinobi Hiden and Other Ninja Scrolls. So if you don't get any further in this book, that's the one we're doing. It's by Anthony Cummins and Yoshi Minami, and you can get that now on Blue Snake. So that contains the oldest ninjutsu in the world. And I will tell you why in this video. But if you just want to go get it, there you go. There will be a link below so you can follow that. Okay, how did I come to the point that this is the oldest ninjutsu in the world? So, sit back, get yourself a cup of tea, put your fluffy pink slippers on, and let's go through it. Right, the oldest ninjutsu, Shinobi no Jutsu correctly, in the world. What do we mean? So, not the oldest example of the word shinobi, being an infiltrator or saboteur. Not the oldest claim, sort of, you know, our school go back to the Chinese gods, because they all do. They all say, well, our school goes to this. And so, you know, our school was started by this person in the 1500s, but actually I'm talking in the 1700s. No, what is the most identifiable ninjutsu, the oldest one that we can find? A collection of skills written down historically, so we can identifiably date it to a certain period. And where does that information come from? So we have to be careful here. You've got to be very careful, guys. Who wrote it? Where does the information come from? How far back can you get it before you're at the, no, you're into sort of like mythology here. So if the scroll is written in X date, how far before that can we realistically, academically, intellectually get it before you're into the belief? So you see what I mean? So what we'll do is we'll go through it now. Okay, there are three choices, and bizarrely, all three are in this book. So you've got three choices. You've got Hattori Hanzo's Hidensho, Shinobi Hiden, right? You've got that. You've got the 100 ninja poems by Yoshi Mori, Yoshi Mori's 100 ninja poems. Those. And you've got the Gumyosho, okay? So those are the three things you've got. Bizarrely, all three are in there, just by random accident, to be fair. So the other day I sat down because, you know, I'm cool, and I sat down with a glass of port and I read or skip read through my own book because I've not read it in about a year, and I was just flabbergasted at how amazingly cool that information is and how old it is. And so let's go through each one, okay? Hattori Hanzo's Shinobi Hiden, okay? Now this is where you've got to be careful. It's got 5 volumes, okay? It clearly states in the text, that those volumes are from different times, which logically gives you the fact that somebody later on put them into volumes. So before they were just random scrolls, later somebody put them together as a family tradition by Hattori Hanzo. However, big stop sign, right? Stop sign. Some Japanese people name them, because I can't say, that's fake, that's wrong, that date is wrong. 1560 is the date that's given. And they go, no. And you say, why is that a no? There are loads of scrolls from the 1400s, from the 1300s, from, you can get picture scrolls back, I think, to the 1200s. There's literally loads of documents, not on ninjas, just general documents in Japan from those days. 1560 is not that old in Japanese document terms. You can go right back to Buddhist stuff and you go really early. But they say, no, I don't believe it. And you say, why? It's by Hattori Hanzo. It's too famous. Okay, you can't just say I don't believe it because the guy's famous. All right, I understand. It's a name that you'd attach to. And then they say, that can't be right in the 1560s because they're in the warring periods. Well, the document's written in the warring periods. Basically, they don't want to say ninjutsu existed. Then they say, no, we don't like this idea. Which is fine. Check the dates. I get that. But the date on the scroll is 1560, and you cannot get around that. On the other scroll, it's 1655. But then somebody's put it all together, we assume, and then you've got this thing. So when you say to the people, please, why is it fake? There's no answer to it. They just say, because we don't believe it. Okay, why don't you believe it? For two reasons. One, it's Hattori Hanzo. It's fake. Hattori Hanzo's too famous. What? So famous people didn't write? Okay, that's a random thing to say. And we don't believe the date. Why? They never say, oh, this grammatical structure here doesn't work. That word is only invented in 16 something. Now that might be the case. The date might not be right. But the moment you have a date on something else, they say, okay, this is the date. The minute you do Gunpo or you do especially Ninjutsu, no, that's wrong. Why? No answer. So, if it's true, if 1560 is the date, it's the oldest one. On record, the oldest. Okay? If the date is correct. But let's assume the date is called into question. Okay? Hold on, first of all, so where's this information from? Well, it's Iga Ryu, isn't it, basically? Or the term Iga Ryu. It's actually Hattori Ryu. Technically, it would, because people use the names of their families, like Natori Ryu. And then eventually people started using different names. But technically, it would be Hattori Ryu. However, I believe that if it... Well, personally, if it says it on the document, I believe it. Not because it's naive, but because that's what they say. And now it's my task or their task to prove the date wrong, to prove the name wrong, and that's fine, but that's called proof, that's historical, that's academic process. You can't just say, no, you know what I mean, that's dictatorship. No, I don't believe because this, if something exists from history. Okay, anyway, I'm rambling. You get the point. So 1560 is your oldest one, which bang puts it in the middle of the height of ninjas being cool, makes it the coolest document in the world. However, one of the reasons I think it's real is because it doesn't mention Hattori Hanzo in it anywhere except for the end. So if I was Hattori Hanzo writing it, I'm not going to write, on this day I did this because I'm Hattori Hanzo. Ladies, you know, and he's got an Italian mustache and he's got like, you know, Salvador Dali sort of monocle. He's like, oh, ladies be crazy. You know what I mean? So you've got this manual. If it was made up, it'd have loads of that in it. It'd be like, on this day I did this and Tokugawa said this and Lord Tokugawa said that. None of that is in it. Not a single bit. In fact, the Shinobi Hiden is a bit boring. If you're not, you know, if you don't really know how to bring it out, it's actually a list of tools and a list of skills. And that to me screams real. It's like if it was fake, it'd be more interesting. But anyway, there we are. Where are we up to? 7 minutes 51. Excellent. Right. Probably doesn't say that because I've edited it. Okay. So let's lock that down there. Hattori Hanzo. By the way, it's from Mikawa, not from Iga, but it's Iga Ryu from Mikawa. Work it out. Right. So you've got Hattori Hanzo. So now, what about Yoshi Mori's 100 poems? Okay. So Yoshi Mori's 100 poems. There you are. So the Yoshi Mori Hakushaku. So Yoshi Mori is well old, the 12th century. So you're like, So my own logic is like, if it says his name on it, then we must believe that. However, this is where academia comes in. So it says Yoshi Mori's poems. My God, the 1200s in the Heikei Monogatari, around there, you know, 12th, 13th century, you're looking at in that, you know, from that time period. That's old. But this is where proper academic process comes from. Where does it physically have that document? You know, where it actually appears in the Gunpo Gyoshu, which is what we're going to discuss next. So actually, it doesn't appear till 1612. The date on the Gunpo Gyoshu is 1619. However, it's clearly identifiable to 1612, which is the date I use. However, it is literally dated 1619, but there's a reason for that. Do that in a minute. So this is what I was saying at the beginning of the video. Boom, you've got the document. How far can you realistically trace it back? So the document is written in 1612 to 1619. Okay, so let's just say we can realistically trace it back to the year 1600, because he says it comes from another document. He says it comes from this document. This is where it's from, but we can't find that original document, and we followed it round. There's nowhere to find it. So what we have is a document that's written in 1612. He clearly, nobody contests who the author is. Nobody. There's not a single Japanese who says this is not a real document. In fact, it's a very prestigious document. It's well accepted as one of the more solid documents in Japan. So we know that this set of ninja poems comes from at least pre-1612, but realistically it's going to be about 1600, 1590, somewhere like that, because it's written before him. So someone before him wrote it, but we can't just stretch it back to like silly, because then you're into the, well, there's no evidence for it. We only have evidence from 1612, and therefore, and this man, who we all believe, says it's from before me, therefore let's give it one generation, 20, 25 years, and the most you could logically push it is 1590 without finding a separate document. So that does not beat the Shinobi Hiden. Shinobi Hiden, 1560. However, if the Shinobi Hiden is proven to be fake or wrong, and by the way, there are theories out there with the names on, I disagree with those theories. I think I can prove them wrong before anyone in the comments says that theory. I think, be careful, but you tap, tap, tap. I think I can prove it. I have to just fly to Japan, casually, and then go to a museum and then get another version of the Shinobi Hiden. I have already been and got it, but they only allow you to photocopy X amount of pages. So on the one page that I need to prove it, I didn't get at the time, because for legal reasons, they don't let you copy it all. So I've got to go back to get this one more page and just look at this page. It's going to cost me about £1,000 to fly and answer this question. So no, we can't do that in a minute. So unless somebody would like to pay for my flight to Japan to go and check this question, then I'll happily do it. So, right, okay. So we've got 1560, Hattori Hanzo. Boom, there. We've got the 1590s, early 1600s, the Yoshi Mori poems. That's the furthest we could push it back, identifiably. So we're left with the Gunpo Gyoshu. Boom. Gunpo Gyoshu is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Honestly, before the Gunpo Gyoshu, bread didn't exist. Didn't exist. Gunpo Gyoshu is written, boom, in it goes, sliced bread at your shop. It's connected. Historically provable. Promise you. That's another one of my ad-lib. I got complimented on my ad-lib stories last time. It was quite funny. So there you go. Gunpo Gyoshu and bread. Gunpo means military ways. Gyoshu is basically it changes his name basically, and it means sort of like military ways for the samurai of our clan sort of job. That's what Tokugawa Ieyasu changes the name to say, hey, show it to all our clan. Right. So basically, in 1612 to 1619, this guy has finished this book. Not wrote it, finished it. Because in 1612, he's called Ogasawara. So this is Ogasawara Ryu, okay? Oh, by the way, the 100 poems, we don't know which Ryu. We've no idea. We assume it's not really from Yoshi Mori, because that would be ridiculous. It's too far back. So we assume it is from a different Ryu, but there's no name for it. So Gunpo Gyoshu is written by Ogasawara. So it's an Ogasawara Ryu document, and he pulls all his documents together. The Gunpo Gyoshu is multiple scrolls, but 3 of those scrolls, or 3 sections, are for Shinobi no Jutsu, the ways of the ninja. Boom, there we go. Now we know it's finished in 1612, so we can 100% historically identify that by 1612, this has been finished. You've got to be careful here, because everybody mixes up the publishing date, the writing date, and the date that it is presented to Tokugawa. It is written before 1612. It is presented to Tokugawa Ieyasu before 1612 at some point. It is then fully finished, and he's fully changed whatever he needs to change by 1619. It is then by the 1650s, 1640s, I'm doing this from memory, published in woodblock print. Totally different, okay? So publishing, finished, shown to Tokugawa, written, okay? So we can 100% say that this ninja information, the 3 scrolls, is at least pre-1612. However, reading it the other day, I was like, yeah, this is mint. I totally forgot about this, because it's not Ogasawara Ryu. It's not. It's Hattori Ryu again, Iga Ryu, okay? He says in this, my ninja information is from Hattori, and then he gives the name. I never get the name right. Jubeimon, Ujimura, something like that. I never remember it. So basically, it's written in there though, guys. It's all written. It's all down. It's from this guy. And he says, so sorry, that puts us in the warring periods. The information is from minimum 1590s, because it's actually from a warrior before him. Again, same as the poems. We're into the next generation before of information. However, it says this man, this Hattori man, was in the retinue of Takeda Shingen. He was a shinobi no mono in the retinue of Takeda Shingen. Shingen dies in 1573. Let's do the maths. He is born, let's just say this Hattori is born. We don't know his date of birth. We can't find him. The only reference to him is this reference. But let's say he's born, for an average, in 1550. By 1573, he's 23, which means between the ages of 16 and 25, he's working for the Takeda clan, doing ninja things. He's fit as a butcher's dog. Off he goes. He's doing it all. We're all happy days. We're all fine. We're all doing it. That means that by the time 1612 comes around, 1610, 1612, he's 60 years old, which is not that old. Even in old Japan, people did live quite a decent age. You get loads of this, as long as you weren't burnt to death and killed and all that. I'm saying a 60-year-old is not impossible. In fact, it's quite young for an old Japanese person. So, in fact, one of the famous things is the Japanese diet, the traditional Japanese, gives you longevity. So 60 is not old. So let's put him a bit further back. 1540, he's born. That makes him 70 in 1610 when this guy's pulling his information together. So you've got to imagine, let's go for the minimum though, 1650 to make him a 20-year-old in Takeda's army, which is absolutely fine. So you've got this 60-year-old man talking to Ogasawara sensei. So you've got Hattori sensei, Ogasawara sensei, and he's like, tell me about ninjutsu. And he's like, yeah, right, okay, cool, and we do this, we do that. So here, this is what is the magic bit. The point of this video is this. You've got Hattori, okay? You've got Ogasawara writing the Gumyosho, which gives us a 1590s, 1600 set of ninjutsu. But actually, according to him, this was information was from a retired shinobi who was in the retainer group of Takeda Shingen, which puts our information, and then he's got to learn it as a young lad. So we puts our information to 1560. So he's born in 1550, but he's learning it by the age of 10, 15. We're back to Hattori Hanzo, 1560, 1560. We've got two manuals that are academically, logically, cannot be pushed further than that, but can be identified to a single person working in that 1560s, 1570s era, which makes it the oldest ninjutsu that is historically identifiable to a specific person. It is a set of skills written down, and both of them are Iga-ryu. Both of them. How mint is that? Let's have a round of applause. If I had an editor working on these videos, there'd be lots of balloons on the thing, but I don't. I'm doing this myself, so you'll have to just pretend there's balloons and crowds. Right, okay, so that makes Iga-ryu, you got to be careful, Iga-ryu is not a term used till at least much later. It honestly doesn't get used till the Edo period. So most likely it will be Hattori-ryu, most likely, if you want to be historically correct, but still it is not named. So Hattori-ryu, Iga systems of ninjutsu are both, one is undoubtedly the contender for the oldest piece of ninja information that there's out there, and two is disputed, but nobody says why, and they just made up the dispute. So let's throw that dispute out the window till they come back with something more solid. So here you go. 1560 is the oldest set of ninjutsu you're gonna get. At the moment, both of them are Hattori-ryu. Both of them. How cool is that? Two sets of Hattori-ryu, but different branches of ninjutsu right there. Same book, just by coincidence, because the way we sort of edited at the time was like, oh, let's put that and that, put that and that. That's quite good. So they came together. So there you go, guys. That is the secret traditions of the shinobi, Hattori Hanzo's Shinobi Hiden and other ninja scrolls. Boom. The oldest ninjutsu in the world, identifiable historically. There's no sort of like, oh, it was from such a person in the mythical age. That's academically provable to be from that time, especially the Gumyosho. Boom! Right, okay. Have fun, everyone. Let me know what you think. I am reading the comments below for at least a week or so after this video. I tend to slip off them because there's too many videos to keep up with. So let me know what you think. I love both the Shinobi Hiden and the Gumyosho. But to be honest, Gumyosho is my favourite. I would like to redo that with more Japanese in it. When they edited it, they stripped all the Japanese out. They, and I like to put more Japanese in it. So hopefully one day we'll do a second edition on that, which would be great. Right, guys, my name's Anthony Cummins. Get yourself a copy of the book. Enjoy, and let me know what you think down below.